First of all, I've been speaking extensively with the Minister for the Interior, the Minister for the Communications, the Minister for the Customs on the matter of communications. Our ComNet is something that we have to expand, and we got to do it yesterday, if not sooner. Uh, with the advent of ITC operations within the Mexican Empire jurisdiction and the subsidiary doing business in another jurisdiction as ITC Universal, we are learning particular things. The Minister for the Interior has been advancing dramatically in that area. He has to play catch up because he hasn't been the Minister for the Interior all that long. And so he and the Minister for the Communications have been speaking periodically on particular matters, and they're moving certain things forward for infrastructure purposes. Because, for example, in the Sector 4, we really are keen to expand ComNet on the mother continent. There are those that's interested in doing that, and they're working towards that, and we want to be able to do all we're able to assist in that regard. Specifically, when it comes to fiber optics lines, we want to be able to do what we're able. For example, in that issue anyway, several Earth years back, I put together the Mozamza initiative, something that we like to be working on eventually. Basically, several Earth years ago, the Maputo Rail Corridor was built. And when that rail corridor was built, it became a default economic engine. And that economic engine has sown some positive seeds for Zania Matabele, Swazi, and Corporate de Soto. So we can see where certain things can go when you actually build forth an economic engine in the form of a rail line. My thing was, when you prepare a rail line, you have to look at a wide variety of things for environmental impact. Migration patterns for animals, weather patterns, ad infinitum. A lot of things there. But when you look into these particular issues, it gives you a well-rounded view of what's possible. So, wow, the years just really go. About 7, 8 Earth years ago, almost 9 now, I put together my proposal to build a rail corridor in Sector 4 from misnomer so-called Lagos to corporate Niamey, with several rail spurs and several tracks available for commercial rail, with particular gauge rail that will allow for particular tonnage moving at particular speed. Now, different gauges allow you different speeds and different rates of turn capacity. So we did all that research, and we looked at the various modes available, and corporate General Electric makes some really good ones. We like particular options that's available in terms of older style and older chassis with modes that can be upgraded. Well, I'm not going too far into that. That rail corridor proposal that I put together was actually predicated upon what I learned from the Maputo rail corridor. Only thing is, I added things, and some of those things I added when I put that particular rail corridor proposal together. I manifested the Mazamza initiative as a result, which effectively is with the rail corridor from so-called Lagos to so-called Niamey, putting in fiber optics lines as well as natural gas pipeline to run beneath the particular bed. My thing was, if you're going to cut up a corridor to begin with, you might as well dig deep below it and send pipelines through. Pipelines that can run fiber optics cables and pipelines that can run natural gas cables. So you separate them and you put them several feet deep. And you run them into Niamey. Now there's existing concrete, there's existing pavement that runs from Bamako into NDjamena into by way of Niamey. It also gives you access to Ouagadougou. So in other words, Mali, Burkina Faso, corporate Niger, and corporate Chad, all of our kith and kindred in those areas, those Meximors there, could in fact have access to a deep sea port, which would bring down the cost of their imports and exports, one. Two, because you're running these fiber optic lines everywhere, it will basically increase the communications ability. Instead of having to depend solely on satellite, you have other options. So that was the logic and reason behind that. And also running that pipeline and putting the terminus for the pipeline in Niamey and being able to branch it into other areas, i.e. Burkina Faso, Mali, corporate Chad. That gives our folks there access to the resources in an enhanced manner. So these were the things I was looking at when I put these things together. Uh, I'm working on other things as we speak. I know that there's things that we could be doing in the central and south of Amexem. Here in Greater Amexem, we have a few more things that we can be doing, and probably a little sooner. But nonetheless, all is going to take some severe research hours, and we already have a lot on the plate. It's going to take a lot of man hours on this just for the internals. Then we have so many other things we have to look at. Uh, how to bring everyone together and inculcate things in a manner where there's instant accountability and plenty of fraud countermeasures and basically a means to uh, do everything in the most equitable fashion. So I'm looking at these things now because we have some things that are on the horizon, and ComNet is huge. Wherever you're going to run a rail corridor, you should be able to run the fiber optic line sufficient for you to boost communications. And we are now seeing that. We have a business inside this jurisdiction, again, that is actually doing business in other venues through its subset. So ITC has ITC Universal. ITC Universal will eventually get on the ground somewhere in the mother continent, somewhere in Kush Harappa area or in the Harappa-Indus regions. We intend to get operational as soon as possible. And the reason why I say wait, because ITC, which is inside this jurisdiction, is partially owned by the imperial government. So um, I'm happy to see that we're doing particular things. And as we're able to provide our expertise, we'll be able to expand the amount of folks who have access to high-speed internet from their home-based scenario. And that will allow us to have interactive trainings with folks, which will enhance their abilities to learn, and enhance their abilities to study, enhance their abilities to innovate as a consequence. So it's a win situation, a win-win-win situation all the way around as far as we're concerned. And I'm happy to do all that we're able to manifest this sooner rather than later, so that all sectors of the Mexican Empire can move forward, and that we can make sure that all of our folks are getting things done in a manner that is conducive to what the Creator has in mind, particularly in terms of innovation, because the more we innovate, the more we learn, and the more that we inculcate, and the more that we make available, the more we are providing in terms of examples for our offspring, and that is always a beautiful